the Denglisch Docs. Many people use the terms race and ethnicity interchangeably because they are related concepts. However, they are not necessarily the same. Let's talk about the difference and how we can talk about race and ethnicity in English. Race is often perceived as something that's inherent in our biology and therefore inherited across generations. Ethnicity is typically understood as something we acquire or self-ascribe, based on factors like where we live or the culture we share with others. In other words, race refers to a person's physical characteristics, such as skin, hair, eye color, while ethnicity is a term that describes a shared culture of a group, such as nationality, language, religion, and tradition. For example, when talking about the Rwandan genocide, you could say the Hutus and the Tutsis were both African, but civil war broke out because of ethnic differences. People of a different race can share the same ethnicity, and people of the same race can have different ethnicities. A bit confusing, huh? For example, Japanese and Korean people are both considered Asian, but they come from two different cultural backgrounds. While race is ascribed to individuals on the basis of physical traits, ethnicity is more frequently chosen by the individual. And because it encompasses everything from language to nationality, culture, and religion, it can enable people to take on several identities. Someone might choose to identify themselves as Asian American, British Somali, or Ashkenazi Jew, drawing on different aspects of their ascribed racial identity, culture, ancestry, and religion. Because ethnicity cannot be determined by looks, it's best to ask a person what their ethnicity is. You can ask, what is your ethnicity? What is your ethnic background? What is your ethnic makeup? What's your ethnic breakdown? Or what ethnic group are you a part of? To tell someone your ethnicity, you can say, I'm German, I'm Mexican, I'm Korean, or I'm Swiss. If you say I'm American when having a conversation in America, people will most likely follow up and ask, what is your ancestry? Because they would like to know your family's origin. To talk about people from the same ethnicity, you can use the frame ethnic group. For example, you can say the clothes of the Bantu ethnic group are quite beautiful, or Berbers are an ethnic group of people indigenous to North Africa. Many people mistakenly associate the term Hispanic with race, but it actually refers to ethnicity. When we use the word Hispanic, we are just referring to people whose heritage originated in a Spanish-speaking country. Because of the diversity within this group, you should refer to a person's country of origin. For example, Jose is Venezuelan, Roberto is Cuban, or sometimes jobs or organizations may ask you to specify whether or not you are Hispanic or Latino origin or ethnicity. You can say I'm white, non-Hispanic, or I'm black, Hispanic. We generally don't use these phrases in informal settings because it is TMI, which is slang for too much information. Saying I'm black, non-Hispanic sounds very awkward when you're kicking it with friends. So, if you don't know what kicking it means, that is just another phrase for relaxing or hanging out. It's best to avoid language that lumps people of different ethnicities into one big happy family, because making generalizations about people's appearance and cultural identity is quite rude. For example, someone that speaks Spanish isn't Mexican, and every Asian person isn't Chinese. Because of this, you need to be specific about who you are talking about. For example, you can say Javier is Peruvian, or Li Jing is Chinese, but she lives in Japan. Or Li Yin is Asian, but she grew up in Germany and considers her ethnicity to be German. When people don't respect ethnic or cultural differences, we said that they are culturally insensitive. For example, if a coworker makes a rude remark about someone's ethnicity, you can say, you need to be more culturally sensitive, or you should stop being so culturally insensitive. Above all, remember that despite ethnic and racial differences, all of us share much more in common than we don't. The most important thing is for all of us to see it, instead of looking at our differences alone. Thank you for watching.
We out like that.